Hey guys, Crystal here from the Real Recovery Podcast. This morning I was reading my news feed and I saw an article about the late Matthew Perry. Matthew Perry was one of the cast members and stars of the show Friends. He passed away in 2023 due to an acute ketamine overdose, also mixed with contraindicated with his Suboxone. The article stated that there were arrests made in the investigation into his death. 5 people were arrested, 2 of which were medical doctors. My heart and my head immediately went to the parents and the family members, the spouses of anybody who's lost someone to drug overdose. I wondered, would that even be a thing for anyone else? For any other parent who's lost an adult child to an overdose? Would there be an inquisition? Would there be an investigation that spanned almost a little over a year? Would that be supported in any way, shape, or form? The word culpability was also used in this article. And it was with regards to the 5 arrested. I don't know who the other 3 were, but they also said in this article that they're hoping to bring charges up against them basically for taking advantage of Matthew Perry during his last days, months of active addiction. Again, my thoughts went to the parents, the spouses, the grandparents, the siblings, the loved ones of someone who's ever died from a drug overdose. What it does, however, do is bring up many questions. Of course, I factor in who Matthew Perry was, the amount of money that his family had, if you know who his stepdad is. Who, side note, I was shocked. I love his stepdad, Keith Morrison. I understand all that. Unfortunately, there's a tendency to have as much freedom, as many rights as you can afford. But I still wondered, using the term culpability, could there have been another word used? Could another word have even fit? I don't have the answers to that, because then I have to pose the question. Even if you bring all of these people to arraignment and pre-trial and all of that, does it make anyone else accountable who wasn't Matthew Perry? As horrible of a thing as any death is, I get both sides. I can understand why this is even being done, because at a certain point, medical professionals, doctors, take an oath. You guys are the smart ones. You're far smarter than us. You're far smarter than the average bear. You strain and struggle through medical school, and you have the intelligence to become a doctor. I'll tell you one thing. I know all too well both sides. I spent 11 years in active addiction, and I've just celebrated my 8th year this past spring of active sobriety. I've absolutely been on both sides. I understand the horrible manipulations of emotions that someone's drug addiction does to the loved ones. There's no 2 ways around it. Drug addiction ravishes, wrecks, destroys. And the problem with that is it's not just the addict that it does it to. Addiction isn't necessarily a choice, but using drugs absolutely is. One thing I need to say loud and clear for the people in the back, the front, and all around. Make no mistake, addiction changes your brain. It absolutely fucks with, on a cellular, basic neurological level, everything in your brain. But don't for a second think that somebody suffering through active addiction isn't aware of what they're doing when they're getting drugs. And I don't know who needs to hear this, but an addict will use their dying breath, their dying moments to get high and have you spending the rest of your life searching for closure. But it's something that needs to be understood.